Cinco de Mayo is the most popular Latino celebration in the United States. Every year, millions of people celebrate it in venues ranging from small grammar school dances to large commercial fiestas. Yet, in Mexico, the Cinco de Mayo is not widely celebrated as it is in the U.S. So the question is, why is the Cinco de Mayo so widely celebrated in the U.S. when it is not in Mexico? The answer is that the public celebration of Cinco de Mayo was created by Latinos living in the American West, California, Nevada, and Oregon during the dark days of the American Civil War. Wait a minute. Latinos in the American Civil War? What is that all about? During the American Civil War, many Spanish-language newspapers were published in California. In Los Angeles, El Amigo del Pueblo, and for example in San Francisco, El Eco del Pacífico. We can read these Spanish-language newspapers today, and we can hear Latino voices speaking to us from 150 years ago. At times, the voices tell us about Latino daily life, restaurants serving Mexican food, musicians to provide tunes, musical and theatrical performances, births of the next generation, weddings, and deaths. We also hear the voices of Latinos concerned about policy issues that were tearing the United States apart, like slavery and race. When the American Civil War erupted, Latinos supported Abraham Lincoln and the United States against the Confederate slave states who wanted to create a new nation built upon forced labor held in chains. Latinos took up arms against the slave states. Major José Ramón Pico organized 4 troops of Spanish-speaking United States cavalry. But from the very first armed encounter of the Civil War, the slave states rode a streak of luck, winning battle after battle, while the Spanish-language newspapers informed Latino readers of defeat after defeat for the United States Army. And then, things got worse. Taking advantage of Lincoln's preoccupation with the Civil War, Napoleon III, Emperor of the French, sent his troops marching towards Mexico City to overthrow the constitutional republic headed by President Benito Juárez, and install Maximilian of Austria as the Emperor of Mexico, who would then be free to cooperate with the slave states in the rebellion against the United States. But the French troops were stopped dead at the Battle of Puebla, fought on Cinco de Mayo of 1862, and could not reach Mexico City to create a slave state friend south of the border. In California, Nevada, and Oregon, Latinos read the news of the unexpected victory of Cinco de Mayo and immediately began celebrating this first major victory with the Latino music and dances of the American Civil War. And you will notice they did not use mariachi music, for the simple reason that mariachis had not yet been invented. And they did not have dancing adelitas, as those were to be the symbols of the 20th century Mexican Revolution. Every Cinco de Mayo during the Civil War, Latinos in the American West would gather in great crowds to hear speeches.
On this great day of Cinco de Mayo, we remember the power of hope, the power of the people to overcome great odds. And we remember, we've won in the past, and we will win again.
They would march in huge parades.
Today, we band together to join our brothers and sisters in the fight.
Speakers would remind Latinos that they were struggling against both the slave states and their potential ally, the Emperor of the French, Napoleon III.
We unite to raise money, people, and any other resources we can spare for Mexico's fight for independence.
After the parades and speeches, Latinos gathered in meeting halls and in private houses to renew their energies to stop the slave states and the French in Mexico using the music and steps they were familiar with. We at UCLA invite you to learn more about the American Civil War origins of the Cinco de Mayo in California, Nevada, and Oregon. We invite you to read about the Declaration of Independence in Spanish, Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation freeing the slaves in the rebelling states, the shocking assassination of Abraham Lincoln, and the final surrender of the slave states without their slaves.